that's not called an addiction, I don't know what it is. Einkorn. How many of you heard of Einkorn? Whoa! You mean you like it? Would you like to have more of it? Well, there's a good chance it might happen. This is our field in Utah. We've had 200 acres of einkorn harvested this year in Utah and over 2,000 acres harvested in France for young living. The einkorn is the only grain in the history of the world that's never been hybridized. It has 14 chromosomes. Spelt has 28. Kamut has 28. Durum wheat that is in your products today, in the world, on the shelf, in the bread, even in you ladies' lipstick, has gluten in it from durum wheat with 42 chromosomes. And you wonder why we have all the problems that we read and hear about and many experience, called celiac, called gluten intolerance, allergies, all of these things. All you have to do is get on your computer and just type in gluten and look at what comes up. You need to become aware of what hybridization is doing to you as a human being and how it's compromising your digestive system, okay? Why did I go down this path? And I'll tell you why. Because I kept watching the wheat get shorter and shorter and shorter. Because I grew up and we harvested oats and we harvested barley and we harvested wheat on our ranch as a boy, and it was tall. It was above my head when I was a little boy. Nancy and I used to walk behind my dad as he was cutting with the horses with a machine called a binder. 3 horses abreast. And our job was picking up the bundles and putting them together like a teepee. They were so tall that when we'd get a moment, we would run and play in the teepees, cowboys and Indians, okay? And then all of a sudden, now I'm a teenager and I see a wheat field and it's this tall, and I think, that's impossible. I wasn't that short. I was short, but I wasn't that short. And so what's happening here? Well, it was interesting. I had some wheat seed. Mary had wheat seed. Her mother had wheat seed that had been in storage for over 30 years. And so I said, I'm going to take it down to the farm and plant it. So I took it down to the farm and planted it, and it grew up to my waist. Because it was second hybridization, not fourth and fifth. But yet it grew taller. I harvested it the old-fashioned way. I fed it to people that had gluten intolerance, and they didn't have a reaction. And I said, something is wrong. So I started studying to find out. That was in 2000. I did a 4-year study with over 200 people in my clinic that I had in Springville at that time. And it was interesting to see that people weren't having a reaction. Why? Because I cut it with horses before it was mature, when it was in the soft dough stage. And then we would shock it, let it stand in the field for 7 days, 10 days. And what happens is the dew, the rain comes on it and then flashes off with the sun of the day. It stimulates that kernel to germinate. And when that kernel germinates, it activates all the enzymes in that kernel to facilitate digestion in your system. Our modern instruments today called combines wait till it's completely mature, and then they cut it and thrash at the same time. It never gives it a chance for that kernel to activate the enzymes. Plus, the 42 chromosomes makes it a super starch, a super sugar, super addictive. And that adds to the problems. So I cut this, whoops. Can we run this, Jordan? No? There we go, okay. This is a little video that I clipped because I want you to see this. This was a very fascinating discovery in Turkey. They first identified this archaeological site in 1994. It took several years to get permits from the Turkish government before they were able to start excavating. Once they started excavating, they made one of the greatest discoveries in modern times.
For me, this is one of the most exciting sites in modern archaeology. Because here at Göbekli Tepe are some of the oldest buildings in the world. They date to nearly 3 times the age of the first Egyptian pyramids. And there's a real mystery here. Who built this place? And more importantly, how could they have done it?
This dates back over 12,000 years ago, when the people were hunters and gatherers, supposedly.
This astonishing structure is 12,000 years old. It lay buried and undiscovered until 1994. Hello! Yeah. The archaeologist who unearthed it is Klaus Schmidt. It's great to be here.
I welcome you in Enclosure C.
Enclosure C? What a place, it's spectacular, isn't it? I mean, these are great.
Big question is, who are they? One thing is very important, never a face is depicted. They are always faceless.
I saw you, as you came down, you showed you were working on a very sophisticated project. This looks amazing.
What is a masterpiece of craftsmanship? It's one stone, it's one made from one stone. We have a flat relief of a boar, and we have this high relief of a leopard.
This is an extremely complex society.
Yes. This is a surprise. We didn't know this. We didn't expect this. And what we are doing here, we add a chapter in world history, a chapter which we didn't know it existed before.
To construct Göbekli Tepe with its 50-ton megaliths would have needed a huge army of well-organized workers. Yet 12,000 years ago was the Stone Age, a time when people were supposed to be hunter-gatherers living in small groups. How did they sustain the numbers essential to build such a vast temple? The answer lies a short distance away. Within sight of Göbekli Tepe are the Karacadag Mountains. Here something happened at this time that would change our world forever. It was all to do with one particular type of grass. It's an ancient type of wheat which grew totally wild, just as it does today. It's called Einkorn wheat.
Now this is what you're going to see coming up here that's very fascinating.
When the head of the wheat's right, then just the tiniest of touches, look what happens.
See how easy the kernels fall off? That's because that's the way it was created, so it would reseed, it would regenerate, and create a crop for the next year. Now look at this.
Two types of wheat. In the original wild wheat, a special ridge of cells between the stalk and the seed breaks down as the plant ripens. And this allows the seed to fall away. But in the wheat with the genetic mutation, these cells remain as a solid band. It means the new wheat never lets go of its seeds. Now, under normal circumstances in the wild, that would doom the plant because it just couldn't scatter the seeds. Like you buy it and nothing happens. But it turns out that for one animal species, this trait is really beneficial. Us.
So through hybridization, what it did, it changed the genetic structure for reproduction, for regeneration, for regrowth. And of course, all the other things that came with it that were not expected. The wheat of today is not fit for human consumption. It's a toxic substance. is one of our machines in France. This is your flour factory. Brand new, went into production last year. We are so proud of it and the job that we're doing. I first discovered Einkorn in 1996 in Hunzeland. Jerome, our farm manager for the Einkorn,
aujourd'hui on est quasiment mi-mai, la petite époque il couvre tout à fait la terre maintenant, il n'y a plus qu'à attendre qu'on récolte, il n'y a aucune intervention à y faire, il n'y a plus qu'à laisser pousser. On le regarde.
2,000 acres of Einkorn in France. It's just the beginning.
La première machine ici,
This is inside the flour mill.
après la décortiqueuse, il y a un système d'aspiration pour aspirer tout ce qui est la balle et tout ce qui est plus léger que le grain. Une fois qu'on a passé à travers ces machines, on a un trieur alvéolaire, il enlève tout ce qui est plus long et tout ce qui est plus court que le grain. Parce qu'on a épuisé toutes ces étapes, on a un grain qui est propre et prêt à être consommé. Le moulin, c'est un moulin artisanal qui fonctionne avec des meules en granit qui se frictionnent l'une sur l'autre, assez proches pour écraser le grain à la granulométrie comme l'autre. Une fois que le grain il est écrasé, il faut le transporter jusqu'au tamiseur, qui s'appelle un Manchester. Et du tamiseur, on enlève le son de la farine, qui pourrait y avoir comme impureté, est écarté, c'est un produit qui va à la consommation animale. Et la farine, elle, en sachet en big bag, souvent pour aller en faire soit de la pâtisserie, soit de la boulangerie, soit des pâtes, tout ça, tout ce qu'on peut faire avec une farine.
Your Einkorn field.
Pour Février, on a discuté longuement, malgré la barrière de la langue, on a toujours réussi à se comprendre. Il nous a quand même bien aidé dans la démarche d'assez de temps. Je vous remercie.
There's the Einkorn after thrashing before going into the grinder. The husk. That's an Einkorn head. In the green state, this is going into the soft dough stage, and the maturing stage. There's our Einkorn field in Utah. That's a chaff of rye. Looks very similar. That's what's called red fife wheat, 42 chromosomes. There's our Einkorn growing in Fort Nelson, British Columbia, July the 28th. It's about a week to 10 days behind the growth of Utah. And we've already finished our harvest in Utah. There's Yukon, the tender of the field. There's one of the fields in Utah all cut and chopped and ready to go to the thrashing machine. So, how many of you enjoy the spaghetti? How many of you like the pancake mix? How many of you want to see some more products?
What are you doing? Gary, I'm standing backstage. That's not part of your presentation.
Mary?
What
Mary, get out. This is not in my
Hey,
presentation.
we're done with this. How'd that get? You know what? That's that John Wetton. He